Tom Savage needed better protection, before and after he got knocked out. The film of Houston Texans quarterback Tom Savage after he was hit, shuddering on the ground with those stiff outstretched arms and slow twitching fingers, should be accompanied by dense fog, scuttling leaves and screeching music in diminished chords. You tell yourself it's just football, and not hatchet cinema, but that makes it only scarier. It's hard to drag your attention away from that fright-flick moment, and Savage is trembling. But his injury needs to be studied from both the before and after standpoint. There are two angles from which to consider that replay, and two groups that are responsible for analyzing it. The NFL League Office and the NFL Players Association are conducting a joint investigation into how Savage's injury was handled on the sideline. All of the focus at the moment is on the hot-button issue of whether the league is making a farce of concussion protocols. But an equally important issue is how Savage got hit in the first place, and the union has some considering to do on that one, because protection issues don't start in the medical tent. They start with labor's unreasonable restrictions of off-season workouts, which actually may be doing more harm than good, because they have led to poorer protection for pocket quarterbacks such as Savage. Pretty soon, the NFL is going to become one of those tales in which people keep disappearing, one by one, like Agatha Christie's plot in And Then There Were None. The toll of violence has deprived the league of headliner after headliner. 10 quarterbacks are out for the season, including a half-dozen faces of their franchises, and then there are the ones trying to hobble through, like the Oakland Raiders' Derek Carr with a fractured back, and the Seattle Seahawks' Russell Wilson nursing a reset jaw. Ratings are down 7%. Which should give both management and the union incentive to ask, what can we do to keep our best-selling QB jerseys on the field? NFL, NFLPA investigating handling of Tom Savage's concussion. Every injury is different, of course, and there is no way to legislate safety in the face of the simple physics of ever bigger men running at each other ever faster. No rule or protocol could have preserved the Philadelphia Eagles lumberjack and MVP candidate Carson Wentz, who decided to ram his 6'5", 237 pounds through two LA Rams defenders at the goal line like a log through a sawmill, and came away with a blown knee. But some things are addressable, particularly when it comes to quarterbacks, the most important players on the field, and often the most defenseless. This is not to let the league off the hook for the obvious fact that certain clubs are skipping lily pad-like over concussion evaluations. Players are returning to the field after answering a couple of brisk questions, despite clear evidence of severe blows to the head. Wilson missed just one play after taking a hit that left him on a liquid diet. Savage spent an estimated 3 minutes being appraised before someone let him back on the field. That's way too quick for symptoms to manifest, and everyone knows it. The league office is ever eager to issue fines and suspensions to a player for an illegal hit. But it has yet to issue a single meaningful public rebuke to anyone wearing a suit, a doctor, trainer, or club official, for jeopardizing player health. All of the discussion, however, is after the fact. Watch the film of Savage's concussion again, and this time watch the before. Watch from the snap to the heavy hit by San Francisco 49ers edge rusher Elvis Dumervil. Savage's protection failed in a far more immediate and fundamental way before he ever got to the medical tent. His young and injury-plagued offensive line caved. He had time for 3 backpedaling steps before he was crushed. The union was well-intentioned when it bargained for a longer off-season in 2011. The idea was to preserve bodies and forbid clubs from working players into the ground. But expert observers say there has been a marked deterioration in the quality of line play. The $64 million question is, should the off-season rules be changed so we can develop offensive linemen? And the answer is unequivocally yes, and I don't think you'll find any football man in America who would disagree with that proposition, says former Colts vice chairman turned ESPN analyst Bill Polian, who spent 20 years on the NFL's competition committee. Just to be sure Polian is not an outlier, I checked in with a Super Bowl quarterback, and a Super Bowl coach. They agree. From January 2nd to mid-April, coaches can't even talk to players about football. From April to July, activities are ludicrously circumscribed: 2 weeks of weights only, 3 weeks of individual drills, 4 weeks of highly limited no-contact practices. In other words, no blocking. Pretty much ever. As Arizona Cardinals coach Bruce Arians has said, "We never practice football, we practice soccer." Steelers officially end Ryan Shazier's season after scary spinal injury. How are young linemen supposed to learn the crucial combination of physical technique, and pass protections, and blitz recognition? They are ill-equipped to come and play functionally in the NFL, and it's that simple, Polian says. Consider that the Texans were the third youngest offense in the league last year, and then lost their Pro Bowl veteran Dwayne Brown in a trade. Center Nick Martin was a 2016 draftee who missed his rookie season because of a knee injury. Tackle Julian Davenport and reserve guard Kyle Fuller are rookies. Guard Greg Mangst and tackle Kendall Lamb, both 25, were undrafted free agent signees in 2015 who have shuffled in and out. Guard Jeff Allen, 27, last week was moved to left tackle, a position he hadn't played since college, to shore things up. Veteran tackle Bruno Giacomini, 32, was assigned in May, and the Texans are his fourth team in 10 seasons. In the opening game of the season, they gave up 10 sacks, and 12 quarterback hits. The union suspects that teams want looser restrictions, so they can work cheap young labor harder, and avoid expensive free agent signings. But that ignores the root of the problem. When young linemen don't get taught, it means everyone, especially quarterbacks, take more punishment. The Indianapolis Colts have given up 100 quarterback hits this season. A chorus of coaching voices has steadily risen on this subject. New England Patriots coach Bill Belichick warned back in 2014, "We get a lot of breakdowns. We get a lot of situations that players just aren't as prepared as they were in previous years. So much about the NFL's injury problem is incurable. But this is something that can be done." Every offseason the league and union look anew at issues ranging from field conditions to helmets. They should consider a compromise on workout restrictions for first and second-year players, so they can develop their hands and feet and technique, and to get their reps in to be functional when they get in the game, Polian says. This seems like mere common sense. Protection starts in the preseason, not in the concussion protocol. Read more coverage. The waiting game over Aaron Rodgers' return is about more than just a playoff run. NFL Network suspends Marshall Faulk, Ike Taylor, Heath Evans over sexual harassment claims. Patriots-Steelers showdown received an unexpected prelude Monday night in Miami. Roger Goodell still doesn't believe Colin Kaepernick is being blackballed